Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, I wanted to talk about the next Persona 25th anniversary announcements that we're going to be getting in April. So that's literally just right around the corner, just a couple days away, and like we've known for the past couple announcements, we never really exactly know the day. So I'm not going to try to predict any days or necessarily anything that is going to be coming out for this. I am going to make this video be not pessimistic, but I think just realistic. And when it comes to that, I mean, in terms of what Atlus is going to be giving us, and I kind of wanted to break down my thought process behind this and why I think we should be thinking more realistically about when it comes to these Persona 25th anniversary announcements. I think a lot of people have expected a lot from them, and I mean, understandably so, but when it comes to Atlus and what they plan to do for this anniversary, I'm not 100% sure how much the West was necessarily supposed to be included when it came to a lot of the stuff here. I mean, I for sure would love to see a lot more games and things come out, but we have to think about this in terms of what they've gave us so far and what they've told us when it comes to this 25th anniversary. So April is going to be the fourth one that we've had. There originally was going to be 7 of these events for the Persona 25th anniversary, but they added an extra one. We don't know exactly if that means that the extra one is supposed to be something towards the end, or if they're supposed to be announcing something within the middle of the dates that are going to be, you know, squeezing in a brand new 25th anniversary announcement because they have something else to release for us before, you know, it gets to there. So we don't know where that's actually going to be placing, which does help us. That means we know for sure that we're getting more from this than what we were supposed to because of that extra date added. But we do know that April is going to be the 4th one. There's going to be 8 of these, so because of that, we know that we're halfway through this Persona 25th anniversary, which means think about all the things we have gotten halfway through this, I guess, celebration, the 25th anniversary. And I know a lot of us were expecting, I think, a lot of ports and things like that, but not necessarily it being a anniversary means that has to be something that happens. When we look at the 25th anniversary, it's just an anniversary. That does not necessarily mean anything about ports, anything about remakes or remasters, which I think a lot of people wanted just based off of what we have seen with the success of Persona 4 Golden jumping to Steam, SMT3 being sort of remastered, brought back to other consoles and stuff, and just Sega and Atlus flat out just deciding to do more things with their IPs, which overall is great. That helps so many people out. I know there's a big push for Persona 4 Golden to be jumping to consoles and stuff like that. That's a huge thing on Twitter, and you know, King Norakami and Dave and everybody. Of course they want that, and I do too. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times, even though I've been quoted as like a so-called port baker. I'm not a person who necessarily wants it there, but I think it'd be a good idea for a lot of the people who don't have a PC and whatnot. I played it on PC, I love it there, I'd recommend it to play there, but hey, I can realize that some people have different consoles and things and don't maybe want to play it on a PC. So it is what it is. People should be able to enjoy it either way, but this is going to be the halfway mark. And in terms of what we have gotten so far, we have only gotten one game. That's Arena Ultimax. Unless we get to this April, you know, whatever anniversary, and we get the, you know, Persona Times thing where Teddy shows up on screen and talks to us and whatever. Unless we get another game there, that means there's only one game that we have gotten so far. And a lot of the stuff has been other things just exclusive to Japan. So realistically, when it comes to this 25th anniversary announcements, we're not really getting anything for the West. I mean, the West, for the most part, I think is an afterthought. I mean, a lot of the events and stuff like that, even some of the merch, you have to import it from Japan. A lot of it's Japan-only stuff, and it makes sense. I think just Atlus as a company is, you know, just now starting to branch out and do extra things. And I think that's a lot of the help from Sega, which is good, and I like that. I'm glad they're doing more, but I think just taking anything that we can get from this anniversary is a good thing. Like I said, I hate being super pessimistic about this because I would love to have stuff, but just seeing from how things are, it's hard not to be a little pessimistic. I mean, like I'm saying, I think this is just being realistic when it comes to how Atlus is. Of course, anybody can say it's a no-brainer to do this or to that. We've all said it 1,000 times. I'm not going to try and generate hype for something that may not ever happen. Like I said, we're halfway through, and we've had Arena Ultimax, which is pretty damn good, but if you look at the Steam records of Ultimax, it went from like basically 10% almost of how many people bought the game to how many people are playing it now. It seriously shot down so hardcore that hardly anybody is actually playing Arena Ultimax, which is pretty sad. And I think there's just a lot of hype just gone from Persona in general. And I think a lot of content creators are also being burnt out. People taking time off Twitter, people not uploading as much, people not finding as much content, people jumping to other avenues of content. I've done a lot more things with Final Fantasy, but my views have dropped. The views have dropped for other creators and whatnot as well. And I think a lot of this just stems from a lack of content when it comes from Atlus. And you know what? It's not necessarily their fault. It's their company. They get to do what they want, but I think that's just realistically what's going on here. We have not been given the things that I think we thought were going to be given, but when it comes to it, a lot of the stuff is not things for the West. I mean, it just so happens that when a game is remastered, oh, that's something that easily could be given to the West. I think that's just an easy avenue. You know, you can just ship a CD to somebody. It's a lot easier to do that, or a digital code or whatever. A whole-on event, though, that's a whole different story. I mean, Japan, it's easier that way, especially with COVID and a lot of other stuff. Of course, it just makes sense, I think, for that to happen, but I kind of want to go over what I predict and what I would like to see. And I'm saying this in an overall sense of the 25th anniversary. So maybe not necessarily in April, but I think some point of the summer we're going to be getting something. And this is what I hope. We don't have any leaks or necessarily anything to go off of this. We have some fake leaks and some stuff on Twitter from people that are semi-reputable sources, but not necessarily. They've been wrong in the past, but they've been right in the past. And somebody said something about the dancing games and Persona 4 Golden bring about the consoles and stuff. But like I said, take it with a very, small grain of salt, I guess you could say, when it comes to this. It's not very trustworthy news from the stuff that we've seen on Twitter, but I don't think it'd be crazy to see the dancing games be brought around. They seem to like to port those around. They've been ported before. They were, P4 being on the Vita and everything to consoles, and now having all of them on the PlayStation, I don't think that's necessarily something that would be crazy to jump around, especially how we have Strikers, which is like another spin-off Persona thing. The spin-off Personas seem to jump around pretty easily, so I don't think that'd be crazy to see jumping to like Steam or the Switch or something like that. That actually seems reasonable. And this is just not just me port banking, but like it genuinely just seems reasonable because they throw Strikers around everywhere. They throw SMT, around everywhere. Seems like Arena Ultimax also got thrown around to every single, console just about. So it's not unrealistic to think that another Persona spinoff could also see this as well, which is what I think might potentially happen within the 25th anniversary. And this is my big Hail Mary type thing that I would love to see. And I know a lot of people want it as well. And that's something to do with P3 or P4. I think P4 easily could just be ported around, which would be nice. It'd be easy. I don't think P4 necessarily needs a lot of work. You could touch up on some textures and things like backgrounds and maybe a couple of demons and stuff. But P4, almost for the most part, it's playable, man. I mean, if you get it on Steam, it just looks a little ugly at times. Other than the graphics, it doesn't need a whole lot of work done to it. Maybe a couple of the songs could be changed or, done a little bit better. A couple of them sound kind of bad, but graphics touched on a little bit. Super easy. So I think just a remaster for P4 would be perfect. Persona 3, I do think needs a rework. That game needs somewhat of a remake. Maybe not necessarily touching graphics because that might be too hard or whatever, but something to deal with P3 mashing FES or the portable version, being able to choose either one of those, having the party be fully controllable. I think that's what a lot of people want to see when it comes to Persona 3, and I think that'd be the perfect route, perfect avenue for them to take. So my Hail Mary is a P3, P4 remake or port of something brought to everything. I'm going to be Mike as a port beggar, whatever. It is what it is. I think those two games being brought to everything, that's my Hail Mary thing. I don't know if it'll happen, but I feel like the extra thing they're adding in the middle, possibly, or somewhere within the 25th anniversary, I think might have something to do with them trying to add extra content. Of course, that means they're adding extra content, but what that means exactly, it could also just mean that they're trying to have more time to do something, so they need a little bit more extra time to have a second event. And I think the dancing games are easy for them to port as well. Like I said, for some reason the Persona ports usually are done with, like, you know, spin-off games. We have more spin-offs on the Switch of Persona games than we actually do Persona games. It's just so strange to see. But I think that's gonna be it here. Sorry if this video was very pessimistic, but like I said, I'm trying to be realistic, I think, when it comes to what we're talking about here. Just think about it, how Atlus has been so far. We're halfway through this thing practically and have had one game. So, not to expect a whole lot is probably the best route to go here, to try and not be disappointed, and to try and not be sad with what actually happens. I think we just gotta face the reality of it is what it is, and it's not necessarily to point any fingers or blame anybody for it. They're just doing what they can. They're a business. Atlus has more things in Persona to work on. SMT5, for instance, having a DLC is not too crazy to think of either. So, you know, there's only a certain allocated amount of people who work on the P Studio stuff, and they have third-party stuff they have to talk about too with other companies and things. So Atlus, just in general, as a, you know, just publisher with their games, they only have to allocate like so many, you know, people to certain things and money to certain things. So it is what it is. And I think SMT5 having a DLC is not too crazy to think about either, considering that 3 had a bunch and 4 also had a bunch, with Apocalypse being some people's favorite Meg 10 game of all time. So not too crazy to think that maybe they're spending a lot of money to do on that, especially considering that SMT5 is currently their mainline Meg 10 title for right now. I mean, Soul Hackers has a while, so it's not crazy to think that they're allocating a lot of resources to that. But I think that's going to be it for this video then, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. As always, I will see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.